piece of cloth. I'd say that about Datak, although he doesn't cut cloths, he cuts jugulars and things like that, I guess.
He always looks good doing it.
He has to.
So what can we expect of Datak as mayor?
As mayor, well, you saw the end of last season, I take it. He wasn't
Stay a mayor?
He wasn't mayor for too long, was he? He unfortunately, his background caught up with him again, I think, and as much as Starmer wants to try and thank you so much, Grey Goose. So as much as Starmer wants to try and shape him into this better husband or a better leader in many ways, he goes back unfortunately to his old temperament, and unfortunately screws up big time. So he's now next season he's not going to be in Defiance. At the beginning of next season, at least, he's I can't say where he is, but he's not living at home with his wife and family at the moment. Things are unfortunately looking a little. The family's not in a good place, shall we say? Yeah, well, I think that's what makes a lot of the show quite interesting. As I think as it's picked up pace with the season, there's a lot of the characters, the backstories come into it, and also they've got a lot of skeletons in the closets, these characters, from the aliens and the humans, and I think that as next season progresses, now that they've got an idea of who they are, now you're going to get an idea of what they really want and what they're really capable of. Because I think many of the characters have started off quite respectable, you might say, if there's anybody respectable in Defiance. They unfortunately have to turn to darker methods to get what they want to achieve. And of course, Datak, how much darker can you get? And Starmer as well, they have to manipulate once again to get to certain areas in society, or to move on within the area that they find themselves. So it's exciting.
His family dynamic almost either keeps changing or we keep finding out different, I guess, how their family kind of works. Is that something?
Say that again, sorry.
The family dynamic, for me, keeps changing for Datak. Now, is it just that it's actually changing, or is it that we haven't been given the full what their society is used to?
It's a good question. I think it's most definitely changing. I think it's within the Casterton culture of society. It is a patriarchal society, very men-orientated, but within that sort of situation, Starmer is from aristocracy, if you like, whereas Datak's background is very much from the street. It's more streetwise than in many ways than Starmer is in some ways. Starmer's wiser within a sort of more worldly way, I think I would put it. So I think that sorry, I'm going to sit over here. So sorry, I think that the family is constantly changing because the balance of power within the family is changing quite dramatically. I think that Starmer was obviously she controls a lot of things and she has to manipulate herself to please Datak. But I think as the second season starts and progresses, that I think Datak, to survive in many ways wherever he is, he has to learn not to be such a hothead. He has to become more pliable instead of brittle, because he just like steel, if it's brittle, it snaps. I think Datak has to be more pliable and has to be more manipulative in his approach, because obviously his attack, kill, ask questions later approach obviously wasn't working for him somewhat at the end of last season.
Now, do you think he sees himself as a bad guy, or he's just ambitious and doing what he has to?
I think he sees himself as a survivor. There's a lot of where he's come from. He's certainly not been given anything. He's not had the silver spoon treatment in many ways. In many ways, it's an interesting dichotomy, because you have Datak, who's very, he's been ripped out of the streets. He won passage on the arcs to planet Earth in a card game. He should never have been on that ship. The only reason he should have been on it is if he was a cleaner, or he was a handmaiden, or he was a butler, or someone looking after the higher castathans. So he's very ambitious. He's very he's a survivor in that sense. So I don't think he consciously feels that he is sort of a racketeer individual, but I think that he just feels that he's someone that has to do anything that he can to survive. Because he's got such a, he's very well balanced. He's got a chip on both shoulders, So he's someone that obviously he wants respect. But how far does he have to go to get that respect? Because I think at times there has to come a point where he has to. You can't demand respect. You have to earn it in many ways. And unfortunately, his approach is very demanding. It's his way or the highway, and I think that approach for Datak is gangster in many ways. Is like behaving like a hoodlum. But I think in the future it is going to get him into trouble again. I think he fluctuates. He has moments where he thinks things are going very well for him, and then he does something that he can't control, and unfortunately he goes back down to where he started.
What are you most excited for this season?
I'm excited for. I've read the first few scripts, and there's some really fantastic moments. There's some interesting stuff within the family of the Tarrs that I think is going to be quite compelling and quite interesting, because a lot of it, it's a science fiction show, but it is set within this sort of immigrant drama, and I think a lot of it puts the mirror up to society in many ways, from immigrants who are from around the world. My wife is Vietnamese. She was an immigrant. I've got friends from Bosnia and Serbia who are. So, within many ways, there's a similarity within a lot of those aspects, which I find quite compelling and interesting within the sci-fi world, but it also pertains to our society. And I think we're going to touch on that a lot as well. There's going to be a lot of backstory, and I think it's going to be quite exciting. And I'm looking forward to see if I've got any new clothes. I know for a fact that what I'll be wearing in the first few episodes is not Giorgio Armani.
What's the relationship with Anna? How important will that be for this new season?
It's huge, actually. It's a good question. It's a very, Jesse Raff is such a wonderful young actor, and he's become a good friend. And I think that the dynamic between father and son is unfortunately very similar to many fathers and son relationships, where there's no fluidity with it. Datak loves his son, but he doesn't want his son to become what he is in many ways. But he's got a very bad way of showing it, if you like, a sort of bad approach. In many ways, I guess he has to let his son be what he wants to be. But I think Datak's love for his son he loves him a lot, but there's a difference between loving your son and telling your son what to do. And I think that Datak is he's not letting the flower grow, if you like. So
Thank you very much.
hand on the shoulder. Hope that made some sense. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Take care. Swiftly on, swiftly on.